painting to photography, from beadwork to woodworking, KQAL-FM on the campus of Winona State University presents Art Beat. Art Beat highlights the work and accomplishments of local artists from in and around Winona. Support for Art Beat is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
Whip out your looking glasses, because this week on Art Beat, we get a part 2 backseat look at the Googled Earth through a looking glass with Negin Ehtesabian. Negin is a professional illustrator with a focus on interdisciplinary research-based art and digital/new media art. Together with their husband, Professor Patrick Lichty, they've created pieces of art that can be seen over at the Watkins Gallery. I'm Dylan Alzate, and sit back, grab some snacks, and please don't chew so loud as we chat with Negin for her side of Googled Earth, today on Art Beat. So we interviewed Professor Lichty about Googled Earth through a looking glass, so I'd like to get some of your insight on how you see it, how you see the whole exhibition.
Okay, the Google Earth project started when we were together, me and my husband, and we weren't able to visit each other's country. So as much as we understood from each other's culture, it was all through media and books, literature, movies, internet, and research, or even casual daily stuff we knew about each other's country, like news. And it was the question that actually, do we know all about these countries just because we have studied the history, or we have watched a lot of movie, or in Iran we kind of raised on a lot of Disney movies and Hollywood movies, like MTV. That time it was satellite in Iran when I was a teenager, and we were watching a lot of MTV, and we watched American series like Baywatch. So it's like the idea we had about America, it was through this media and then internet, and then we read a lot of stories and books about America. And then it was the news and politics, that these two countries had always issues, and the only negative, the only image they made of each other was the negative part, the negative ones. So it was such a paradoxical life, because we raised passing from flag of enemy in our school every day, and we go back home and we live the underground life, admiring a lot of American actors or books, writers, music, and it was a very paradoxical culture. So I thought I know about America much more than Patrick knew about Iran, because you don't usually watch a lot of movies or don't read a lot of books from other culture, like Americans usually read American books, watch American movies. Maybe as far as they go, it's European cultural products. But even that doesn't mean that I know a lot about America. So that was a question, that how could we know better about each other's countries? And then we started to go to each other's country by Google Map. So it was first Google Map, and then it was this 3D glass that I was experiencing it for the first time, and I was so excited, because it was like you're flying over these cities that it feels somehow you are there, but it was a ghost city, because it's not real and people are not moving there, so it's all the image. So it was very exciting and interesting experience we had, and that's funny because Iran is not 3D in Google Map, because they didn't allow the Google staff to take a 3D picture in there. So as much as the American culture is exposed to the world, Iranian culture is not, and that's kind of symbolic too. So we started to work on this notion of learning or knowing each other's or being in each other's country.
I mean, of course. What do you know as a person who grew up through the Carter administration and that sort of thing? So I mean, really, at first, what you know is that through you only know about the embassy situation and what the government tells you, and you find out that that's that there's a lot more to that as time goes on, and then of course you learn more about history and but to tell you the truth, it's what is it? It was only 5 years ago that I had my first tadik, which is a fried Persian rice that Persians fight and die over, and I can see exactly why. So I started learning how to cook Persian, and which I think has been really a great experience. And so I mean, among other things, and starting to learn how to speak a bit of Farsi, and so it's, but Negin's right, is that America as a cultural exporter is so much more dominant than Iran. My exposure to Persian culture was probably just maybe a 10th or 100th of what hers was to mine. I mean, really, if you think about it, you think about things like the 1001 Nights, which were originally Persian stories with Scheherazade and Aladdin and Sinbad the Sailor and all these things, and just all these things which are these really completely distorted ideas of the region. And this is what we're fed, and so when you get to really learn about the real the reality of things, it's such an amazing experience.
Yeah. So Negin, tell us a little bit about the pieces that you and Patrick have collaborated on.
In pieces, it's actually a mail art project that I made for this through the mesh exhibition, and the idea was that I made these postal cards and sent it to Patrick to so he collect it and give it back to me, and then I can make this piece with those postal cards. So it represents the unavoidable fragmentation of the individual, subjected to the intense from this process of rejection by another country or for the visa, or you can say it express the struggle that we have every time to even traveling to the West, like our visa being rejected several times or being rejected completely, and for even traveling for 1 or 2 weeks for a business trip or holiday, we have to prove a very stable financial and employment position and family connections, and we have to prove that we are not criminal. We have to prove we are going back, and then for other matters like our situation, it's that doesn't matter how many documents you provide, still you are going to stand on a queue and your life will be wasted like years and years just behind the door. So it's like 100 times more effort to do something very small, not very small, but something as small as everyone just get a ticket or and go to a conference, and privileged people have no idea that how difficult it is. I mean, it depends on the lifestyle. If you're a person that actually want to be in other places and experience other cultures, or your art is about intercultural dialogues, or as any other person, you don't fit into your own society and you want to go somewhere else. Like Americans are all immigrants. It's just matter of time. So it's just some centuries before they decided to go to another land to live freer and have a better life. And no one asked, I mean, maybe they asked, but why you want to go to other country. But now, because it's contemporary, or I don't know, because of the political or maybe real problems in countries, immigration is getting more and more difficult. So the idea was, with all this process a person goes through, you are scattered into pieces of information and documents. Like, you no longer have value as a person. No one cares who you are as a person, but what you have and what you can prove. How much money you have, and how useful you are to us matters. And then you are not a person anymore. So you have to be scattered to all these different documents and send them to the border. So you cannot pass this border in a piece as a whole. So you are passing piece by piece, and then you have to reassemble yourself in the other side. I mean, I have emigrated actually a couple of times, and every time something happened and I had to go back. But I have experienced this process 2 times in my life already, and it's a quiet, deep experience and very reshaping, I can say, because when you pass through the border like that, you realize that there are some pieces that will eventually be different when they pass the border. Like, you lost some pieces is deformed, some is getting dirty, and some pieces you just leave in your homeland because there is no place for them in the new environment. So when you reassemble them, it doesn't look exactly the same as it was. So you have to fill the space with all these extra adding that you have to work on it to make it as a piece again. Like, you sew them together all over again. You add memories of your homeland or your childhood, or everything makes you happy, or all the sad memories even, and all these experiences actually shapes the new you. So this concept changes again. So every time it happens, you actually have to reassemble some other pieces all over again. So that was the idea about this piece. So the funny thing is that when I was trying to send this postal card to Patrick, I realized that because of the sanctions and everything, the price of sending it is so expensive, like insanely expensive. Just imagine if you have to pay $50 just to post a postal card. I mean, it was even expensive in dollars, leave alone with reals. That is our money. That was like 1/5 of a person's income at the time. And I was like, it's insane. I cannot send it. And then I decided just to keep them as it is. And then I took them to Cyprus and make them together. But it was funny because I could not even send the postal cards. So that was actually, that fits to the project very well as well.
Yeah, it was $800. Oh my God.
Postal cards for €1.
Yeah, one thing for Americans to know, I think that's really interesting, is that because of just the absolute, just insane numbers that you get with the inflation of the Iranian rial. It's basically looked at in quantities of 10 or toman, and so, usually when you're talking about, Iranian currency, you're often talking about toman, which are basically how many tens of rials you're talking about. But I figured that's probably going to go up as well.
Worth nothing. 1 toman worth nothing. So, like, literally you can buy anything. It starts from, I don't know, like 70 or 7,000. It starts from 7,000 and you can buy like candy or something,
Yeah.
Under that, I hardly find something that was anything.
What inspired you to engage in this sort of activity, like with some of the Persian-like carpets and the other features?
The Persian carpet backs to my final project for my BA study. So I was doing a research on Iranian pictorial rugs for the Qajar period. So it's about 200 years ago in Iran. That was made by Ashayir, that they are the nomads, Iranian nomads that live in on mountain, and they used to go upper when it was summer and go in the lower lands when it was winter. So they didn't have a house. They had these tents, and they raised sheep or goats, and then they made everything themselves. So it was totally different than famous Persian rug that has a map and it's designed very intellectually and very precise, and it's a very you can say academic art as a classic art in Iran. But these nomadic pictorial rugs are very naive and primitive, but very beautiful. So they catch my eyes, and I was working on the human figures on them, because these pictorial rugs have a lot of human figures, and that's interesting. Like if they found some Western woman basme from France, and they try to make it without a map, without a carpet map. They try to knit it on a map, on a rug, and they make all these very interesting shapes that you can say like, oh, Picasso must have seen this. They are very beautiful, and some of them has stories like old Iranian Romeo Juliets, like Shirin and Farhad, or Layli and Majnun, and there are a lot of different stories in there. Or they made this beautiful women that they found from the prints, and that started from there. And then I got interested in making the new ones. So I mixed them somehow with the modern life, and it was my final project that was printed as a wall calendar at the time. I think it's like 20 years ago or something. But then I sometimes went back to it and designed some more. And these recent ones are about, it's a Mare project, or love story project, that was about love between people and family, and very valuable friendships. And I got very interested in the rug maps too, because I was thinking that I knew this story that when this nomad rug weaver, they make these rugs, they actually think about their own life. I mean, every nomad girl make a rug, and when the rug is finished, they can marry. And then they took this rug to their life, and they always take care of it. So when they make it, every of these dots they actually tie, it's a moment or it's a second of their life. So it's actually reserved all that emotions and thought they had when they were working. So it's very interesting how it resembles with pixels in modern art, or as you say, in computer art. But in computer, we have the whole image that it breaks into these small points. It is they make this whole image, and we only see this whole image because the purpose they are there is to make that bigger image. But in these carpet weavings, you think that actually all those moments mattered when they weave the carpet. And we see the whole image, but we don't realize that it's actually some time of some person's life. Each of these pixel, that person was thinking about something. And that's interesting because sometimes you see it is totally blue, like in the sky, and suddenly some of the dots are red or black, and it doesn't make sense, just very random. And then you think, yeah, probably that person just was leaving that note there to remember something, remember a special day, or a hurt, or some very dear day in their life. So yeah, that was the base of this project.
Okay. So what do you hope will come out of this event? Like, what do you expect as an outcome? From this Googled Earth exhibition, when people walk into the gallery and they see your collaborated works, see and read all the descriptions, what do you hope would come out as a result?
I would like to know how strong this communication between different words happens through art, and how much we could hope for understanding each other with language of art as human beings, and how much actually we can refer to each other's culture or could understand things that we haven't experienced ourselves. Because on one point, art is supposed to give a new experience to the audience, and it's supposed to connect with another human being. So as much as the process matters and the technique or the idea behind of it matters, the result is, to me, the result is not that, oh, it's a beautiful piece and it's decorative, or I can put it on my salon. I mean, that's great because if it was like that and someone buy it from you, then that's better, but even better. But the main purpose and the best thing an art could do is to connect to other people, because I think all human beings somehow feel so lonely in their being and how they actually are. I think we need this connection to know if others understand us, or if people around you don't understand you, you hope that someone else would. So that's maybe the root of why people read books, or why they write books, because they thought over the history, maybe they thought, okay, people of my age don't understand me, I write it and leave it there, maybe people in next 2 centuries will understand me. So you leave this part of you there, hoping that someone would get it. So from different backgrounds and culture, or sex, or generation, there must be some key parts that connects us to each other so strongly, and makes us able to understand other people's story. That's a very beautiful talk in a movie. I think it was Before Sunset, that this character was saying that, she was saying that, I don't know if God exists, but I believe if there is a God, it is not in me or in you or out there. It is somewhere between this every person trying to understand other person. So in that trying, God exists. I mean, that was a beautiful dialogue I remember, because I think actually that's the reason all people do things. I mean, everything artists create is somehow to find that understanding. I think that's the main motive.
Is that the Notebook? It sounds like it, but
no.
I don't think. No. Okay. No, I was just wondering.
Yeah, Before Sunrise.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Which I need. Okay, cool.
Very beautiful movie, actually.
Now, I'd like to take a little bit of a moment to turn to a very off the hook question that Patrick is very familiar with. How many pennies do you think could fit in a room?
So many.
How many Tomon do you think can fit in a room?
Do you really count them? I mean, I'm really bad at counting, though. But I can say as big as should I give a number?
Yeah, you could just give a brief guess. It's not like we're quizzing
Okay. How big the room is?
Oh, I'd say it's probably about 7 by maybe 5 meters, and it's about maybe 2.5 meters tall.
Okay. I think every penny is 1 centimeter, so every meter is 1,000. So you can say 35 into 1,000, something like that, or million into million. 35 million.
All right.
Okay. Now the thing is like, how many Tomon do you think you can put in a room like this?
I'm not interested to count money unless if it is mine.
There you go. That's great. That's the best answer.
That's a good answer right there. So back on subject. Have you done art exhibitions like these in the past?
Yeah. You mean like this collaborative, or with Patrick, or the same subject?
I'll just start off like with Patrick.
It is the first kind of solo exhibition of us together, but we have been in other shows too, but it wasn't like the whole Google Earth project. But in Wyoming University, also a part of it was shown with those pieces, America and Iran, and video, and Patrick's robot drawings, and yeah, I think that was that.
Have you done other collaborative shows as well?
Well, you know what, Dylan, I think one thing is that I want to kind of just mention that Negin is extensively. In other words, it's like, I'm not going to speak for you. I'm just going to say it's like Negin is that, you know, throughout the world, and especially Iran, is that, you know, you have a extensive exhibition profile, you know, right, in various genres, very extensive.
Yeah, collaborative projects. Actually, the first one I had was 2009 or 2009. That was a collaboration between Iran and America. Like American student, that was Morashins Allahiyari's, I think, MA project. And I was leading the Iranian team, and she had an American student there, and we were collaborating together. It called Iris Art, like IR as Iran and US. And it was very interesting. My first experience in collaborative artworks. And then we worked on My Night, Your Day. It was another project of Morrison, and the same like the Iranian group. And then the American group was led by Patrick. So we actually get to know each other that time.
And that was 2012.
Only
Ooh. And I was busy in fifth grade at that time.
yes, very old time.
Those were the days.
Yeah, you have no idea of the time that internet didn't exist. I mean, Patrick might not remember because the time in our country was kind of some decades behind at that time, not now. But like computer first came when I was like 12, and the internet maybe when I was around, I don't know, 18, 19. So I know the word before internet. I know the word without telephone. I mean, come on. We didn't have telephone at home until I was 10 because in the area it wasn't enough telephone to give us. Like you had to go in the queue. It was wartime and you could not actually go and buy it. So I remember when there were no telephone. And mobile phone came when I was like 20, I think 2 or something.
Ooh, yeah.
But when you're saying what your wartime is, that was when Iran was at war with Iraq with Saddam Hussein. That's very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, bombarding the city and everything.
Regarding Googled Earth through a looking glass, do you plan on doing more of these types of exhibitions in the near future?
Actually, the whole concept is based on, it's not like a one project. It is based on our experiences around the matter. So it's not like every piece is made and this is this. Like the work America and Iran I've made, it was like halfway, and then I photographed it and reassembled it on Photoshop, and Patrick printed it in America. And because it is like 2 years past, and through this time I have worked on this again and again, over again, and it is a lot different now. I'm not saying it's better, but it's different. So a lot of other pieces also like that. Like the pieces was a kind of independent project doing for that through the mesh that Patrick was curating for Cyprus for Nimi Art Center, and but the notion of it is a part of the whole experience we are going through. So we can show it in this project, So everything we do about this experience, we could add to this concept and have it as a show, So it cannot stop if we don't want to. I mean, of course, until we could settle.
Right.
I think one of the most interesting things is that, Dylan, you're talking about, whether this, there's going to be more of this, going to be more of these shows, is actually really what we're looking at here. Is by looking at the show, we're really looking at a show that is, an experience which is something that is not still. It's something that is living and it's moving, even as it's in that space. It's something that keeps continuing to grow even as it's there, because then there will probably be a couple pieces made, by the time this is done. And then it'll go to the next space and the next space and the next space. So what this is instead of, saying this is an exhibition, it's in a box, it's this thing, is that this is something that this is a evolving, living representation of life which is lived.
Yeah, actually, I think the most important aspect for art to be original is to be honest and based on your real experiences. Sometimes when you just choose a subject and work on it, it's not that close to you, and it's kind of become a fake struggle to make something that you don't actually know what it is. So yeah, I think as we grow and we change our ideas about things, also artworks should be like that, going through a process.
Yeah.
You know what the other thing is that I also like the notion of something that there's an idea that you're not entirely sure of, but the thing is that the truth in it reveals itself, in the completion of a work. In other words, the work as kind of a either something that you see more clearly what you're getting at, or something that it reveals the truth of the matter to you through the making of the work. Don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a very interesting concept to think about. So to kind of wrap things up a bit, if someone were interested in looking more at your art, where could they find you? Like online?
I have a website, neginet.com, and also if you search my name, Google my name, you will find some other works as well.
Okay. And we'll be sure to keep an eye out for that. So,
Thank you.
Yeah. And Negin, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting.
Okay. Is there any other any final notes that you'd like to tag before we wrap things up?
I would like to, if we have time, I would like to say something about the new piece that I made with, not new piece, the progress the America piece has. I saw this, this writing, what you call that writing? The inscription. Yeah, I saw the inscription on the Statue of Liberty, in front of the Statue of Liberty, because I remember first time I read it, I literally burst into tears, not only because how human and beautiful this idea is, but also because I knew it is not the case anymore or ever, but it's a very beautiful wish, as you say, like imagine, so I just want to end this conversation with reading that, if it's okay. So it says, you're tired, you're poor, your huddles, messes, yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore. So I think about it, and I think about the Muslim ban America had some years ago and made a lot of families aparted. And I think about how some people are more equal than others. So I just ask everyone to hear this, think about that. Beautiful ideas are not there just to be beautiful. They are there to give inspiration. They are there to inspire people and make them think.
That's very, very inspiring. Thank you for sharing that. A huge thanks to Negin Ehtesabian for joining us on today's episode of Artbeat. Be sure to check out Googled Earth at the Watkins Gallery from now until October 4th, with opening reception September 7th between 5 to 7 p.m. To check out the work of Negin Ehtesabian, visit neginet.com. That's NEGINETE.com. To check out more from Professor Patrick Lichty, follow him on Instagram at @patlichty_art or visit his website at patlichty.com. I'm Dylan Alzate, and to check out more art and beautiful events around town, tune into Artbeat Tuesdays at 12:30 p.m. here on 89.5 KQAL. Online at kqal.org, on the app, on your favorite smart speaker, or wherever you get your pod stuffs.
Artbeat is written and produced by KQAL-FM on the campus of Winona State University. Visit us on the web at kqal.org.